We're here at Palo Alto on a pretty windy day. Let's see if we can catch some interesting landings today. We have our first contestant here in a great looking orange Citabria, and this pilot's approach is stable as a rock. He's going for a 3-point landing, so he's holding the 3-point attitude just above the runway. And touchdown. I think that's a 4.5 out of 5 landing. The pilot held the 3-point attitude just a touch high. We have a 2011 Cessna 172 coming in here. Oh, and he flares just a little too late and bounces off the runway and porpoises. I think I can only give this one a 2.6 out of 5. The pilot's gonna come around for 2 more landings in this video. Let's see if they can do better. Next up, we have this 2002 Cessna 172S. It looks like the pilot's going for a short field landing, and he flares at the very last minute and stops the descent and touches down. I'll give this landing a 4.2 out of 5. It was a very good short field landing. Coming in hot, we have a 1979 Mooney 20K with a nice and stable approach. And he levels just above the runway, and there's a slight crosswind, touches down one wheel first, a classic crosswind landing. This is a 4.7 out of 5 crosswind landing. Great job by the pilot. Next up, we have this 2004 Cessna 172, and he's coming in for the flare, pulls back, touches down. Oh, but he lets go too early and the airplane starts porpoising. That's a 2.5 out of 5 landing for the porpoising. The pilot probably could have held the elevator back a little more to stop the porpoising, but at least he's safe on the ground. Here we have another Cessna 172S. This one is almost a brand new model made in 2023. Come in with a great approach and touches down just a little flat with all 3 wheels touching at the same time. I'm going to give this one a 3.6 out of 5 for not touching down on the main wheels first and for the small bounce. Here we have a 1999 Piper Saratoga. It's a great looking practical airplane with 6 seats and a big useful load. This approach looks so stable, the pilot's probably going to butter this landing. Let's see how he does. And touchdown. Wow, that was so smooth. 5 out of 5 landing. This pilot's got some skills. Next up, we have this 2014 Cessna 172. It looks like he's setting up for a short field landing and touchdown with a small bounce there. The pilot holds the nose wheel up to protect the nose wheel, and that was a pretty textbook short field landing. That's a 4.6 out of 5. A short intermission here to look at this beautiful Cessna 148 taxiing by. Approaching the runway now is a 2006 Cessna 172, and looks like he's coming in a little fast, and he balloons just a little bit there, and he saves it with a pretty smooth touchdown. That's a 4.1 out of 5. Here we have a 2011 Cessna 172, and it looks like he's coming in pretty low and fast. Let's see how he does here. Okay, he's still going, and touches down pretty far into the runway. That's a 3.7 out of 5 for the very long float. This is the 2011 172 from earlier in the video. Let's see how this landing goes. And it looks like a very stable approach, and flares with just a slightly flat touchdown, but no porpoise. What a redemption arc. This deserves a 5 out of 5. Here's round 2 of the Citabria from the beginning of the video. Let's see how the pilot does this time around. And with a solid approach, just like the first landing, he's holding the 3-point attitude just above the runway and letting the airplane slow down on its own, and eventually it will touch down by itself without the pilot doing anything. And there it goes, touchdown. This one gets a 4.4 out of 5 for being slightly long, but otherwise a great landing. Next up is a 1997 172. Looks like he's coming in a little fast and a little low, but the wind is picking up and touches down with one wheel first, and that was a pretty classic crosswind landing. This one gets a 5 out of 5 for being a pretty perfect landing. This is the 2011 172 coming around for the 3rd time from the beginning of the video. Let's see how he does this time. And he touches down. Wow, that was an incredibly smooth landing. 5 out of 5. What a turn of events. Okay, here's a break from 172s. This is a 1982 Turbo Centurion. Let's see how he does. With a nice and stable approach, here he's coming down, flares just above the runway, and then holding it off, and touchdown. That was a great landing. 5 out of 5. Alright, here's 4 Echo Kilo coming around for the last time. Let's see how he does. And touches down one wheel first. That was a pretty good landing. 4.7 out of 5.